Folks, early fall is the perfect time to go look for some garage sale gold. This week on Angling Archaeology, we're going to take a look at some vintage lures that I just picked up. I think you're going to like them. Stick around. Alrighty. Here we go, folks. Let's see what we got. Okay, folks, so instead of just doing a typical show and tell of the lures that I found at the garage sale, I figured let's jazz up this video a little bit. Let's not only look at these lures, but let's learn about these lures, learn about the history of them, see what they look like in Bass Pro catalogs, compare them to similar lures, maybe be slightly educational, okay? No promises there, but I figured that would really make this video a little more interesting. And hey, it's a beautiful day. It's late summer, early fall, let's do this outside. We usually go back in the studio, but I figured, let's take a look at this tackle and maybe get an algae attack, because I don't know what's floating in the air, but, it's that time of year. So I'll tell you what, we got some football on. Let's grab a cold one. Let's take out these lures. And let's learn a little bit more about them. All right, first out of the bag, we've got the Storm Hot'N Tot. Now, I'll tell you, folks, any time you are at an estate sale, a garage sale, antique store, wherever the case is, and you can find a deal on pre-Rapala storm lures, meaning before 1999, pick them up, especially if they're in package like this. Now, not all the packaging on these matches up, but I gotta tell you, just the fact that they even have the package is pretty darn cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at these without further ado. So Storm came out in 1964. The Hot'N Tot debuted in 1971. And really, this is probably a lure that's most recognized for fishing in northern states, maybe for walleye, things like that. But it's a great bass lure as well. And you can see what's most recognizable about this is the metal lip. So we have that right there. So if you can see this. Now, this one appears to be factory sealed, never opened. Wow, can you believe that? So what we have here, it looks like this is the white herringbone. This is the larger one. This is just an absolute incredible lure. So I found all these lures. If you combine everything together, when I made a little deal, they were about $2 a lure, which I think anytime you can find pre-Rapala Storm products for under $2, absolutely get it. Because some of these, kind of depending on the condition and, the box and, even the packaging condition, they're, 10, 15 on and up. So I just thought these were a lot of fun. So we have another one right here. This is a really neat one too. So it says blue, so that's wrong, but you can tell just by looking at this is kind of more of a perch type pattern on there. Just a really fun one. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this. Let's go ahead and just pull it out so we can see just a fantastic, and you see right there, thin fin, Hot'N Tot, just an awesome lure. This one says naturalistic shad. And if you remember in the early 80s, I've done some videos about this too, a lot of these lure manufacturers had these lifelike printed on finishes. It was very big in the early 80s. And so that's what kind of leads me to believe this is sometime in the 80s that these lures came out. Maybe it is early 80s, I don't know. You know what, we're gonna take a look at what these would look like new in package. Now, as I mentioned just a second ago, these did come out in 71, but you know what, we haven't looked at this 1983 catalog at all, so I figured let's go ahead and just dive through the pages of this, because I think that's when these lures came out. So here we would have seen the Hot'N Tot right there. And so we have a couple different, so we have the perch, so I was right. So that is a perch pattern, and that's exactly like the one that we've got right here. So you can see that, and then you can see it here on the picture as well too. So that is a perch. So back in 83, is that what I said? Yep, 1983, this would have been $2.79, and just a really effective, great lure. So those are the first ones out of the bag. So there you have it. Oh, and it says right in here too, it says this bait is deadly on walleye and bass, and it is. It's a highly effective lure, still made today. You can still find these, so go pick some up, go fish them, folks. All right, up next, we've got Poe's Lures, and what is not to love about this lure? Anytime you can find a lure like this for $2, pick it up every time. Look at this finish. This finish is absolutely incredible. You've got the pearl, the flake. I mean, it shines in the sun. It's just an absolutely incredible looking lure. So made by Milton Poe, and most notably known because they're made out of cedar. These are proven fish catchers, just absolutely incredible lures. Now, I'd probably date this one sometime in the early to mid 90s, judging by the paint job and the slight styling differences of this lure. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And how can you tell if you've got an older pose? Because there's a little bit of a difference. Well, this Pac-Man eye, I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. Some examples and kind of progression of how the eyes changed a little bit. But this is just a really awesome lure, and this is a paint job and a paint style that was mimicked quite a bit in the 1990s, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. So just looking at the progression of the packaging, we see right here, this is one from 1987, and if we're looking, you know, on the shelves back in the day and you see this kind of really cool bass packaging, you're gonna go straight for this. You know what I mean? Very cool. Love that packaging on there. I mean, this card's outstanding. Here's one from 1992, and you get to see the packaging right there. So there you have it. This is what the packaging for the early 90s would have looked like. And then if you look on this too, so I don't know if I mentioned before, but Yakima Baits acquired the Pose brand. They still make it today. I don't think they come in this package. Maybe they do. But either way, this is what a newer Pose would look like. Still that beautiful sparkle flake paint job on here. Not as present as the old school ones, but still a very, very nice looking lure. And so there's that example right there. So let me show you what I'm talking about for 1995. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Pose will look like in the catalog here. And I've got a few examples kind of pulled up just so we can see other brands kind of making the same type of thing. But you can see even in this picture right here, you got that really incredible pearl finish right there. And then here are all the different lure designs we have for 1995. I don't see this particular craw pictured here, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't available at that time. So let's look at this too. Bass Pro, the Tennessee Killer. So here we go. Let's look at that right there. Boom. If that's not a Pose, I don't know what is. They're directly making the exact same lure. You can see the flake, the pearl design, everything else. I mean, all of the lures they had there were all that glitter. So really to mimic that Pose. And other lure designers as well too. Norman, for example. I mean, let's look at these. Yeah, those paint jobs, right? I mean, those 90s paint jobs are pretty incredible. So just figured I'd show that. But even though this one didn't come new in package, I had to pick it up. Anytime you can find a lure in this kind of condition with this kind of color and this kind of shine and flake, you got to get it, folks. Let's Pose. All right, up next out of the bag here, we've got some Cordell lures. And what's best about this is they're still in the box. They may not be totally new. I can't tell with some of these. Some of them do look new. Other ones look like they got some wear and tear, but anytime you can find them in box, you pick them up all the time. And when they're $2, it's a no-brainer. You always get them. So we'll take a look at the Big O. Now, I've got a Big O video. Check out that Big O video. You can learn a whole history about the Big O, so I'm not going to get into the depths of that. But for the sake of the video, we're going to show you at least what we have right here. So look at this right here. This is a deep Big O, but that looks like it's never been used. This craw pattern, just a beautiful, highly, highly effective lure. #1 selling lure back in the early to mid 1970s. Just an incredible lure. Yeah. Just gotta love it. This is a really interesting color as well too. We've kind of got, it looks like a chrome, orange belly, orange top. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what that's trying to mimic. And it looks like that's got a little, maybe a little melt. I wonder if that was sitting in a tackle box and probably got a little goober up top. But still, you know what, we have it in the box. I wonder if it says in the back what the color is. It doesn't. But you know what that is to me? That's a good fishing lure. You can fish with that one, because you're not scared if something's going to happen to it. Here's another one too. I don't know if this is kind of a goober from the factory or not, but the paint is really thick on this. And what's interesting is the Cordell is barely noticeable, so you can see that. And it looks like the paint is so thick you can't even see Big O. But still, a very nice, vibrant red craw pattern. I mean, this is going to catch fish, you know what I mean? So just a really, really neat lure right there. And it's in the box, so you can't go wrong. And what do we got here? Oh, okay. We've got a couple of these, and we're going to talk about that right now. All right, so what do we got here? Now, at a quick glance, if you're at a garage sale or estate sale or whatever else, and you looked at these two, you may not see the difference immediately. But what this is this is the Honcho, okay? So this is their version of a humpback lure. Now, this lure came out, it was new in 1970, and it really compares a lot to the Rebel humpback. So if you think this looks familiar, it's a pretty direct comparison to the humpy lure the Rebel made, and that was Rebel's #1 lure for 1975. In fact, I'll show you a 76 catalog where you can see the direct difference of that. So you can see this is the main difference. You have that humpback right there, flat belly right there. But this is a really, really nice example. I have two of the same colors, which means, you know, I'm going to fish this one right there. This looks like kind of a darker, kind of a craw pattern right here. Maybe some kind of, it could be kind of an injured shad. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact color on this, but very cool. And you can see right there. And what's great about Cordell is they're going to tell you what you got. So right there, you see it says Honcho, and then there's Cordell, obviously right there. So why don't we take a look at what I'm talking about in 1976. So we're going to reference this 1976 Bass Pro catalog so you can see what I'm talking about right here, and that is, well, they say here it's the #1 selling lure in 1975. I don't know if that's just for Rebel or if that's in general. I figured that, you know, there could be some other lures that could definitely be in competition right that. But here's a noticeable difference too with the humpback here. You see that they have kind of a see-through lip that's put into the lure, and when you look at the humpy, it's all one piece. So you can see there's going to be a little bit of a difference there, but very similar styles. Pretty cool lure. What was cool about this garage sale is it had a really nice variety of Cordell lures, from your humpback styled Honcho right here, or your crankbaits like your Big O's, but it also had these really neat red fins, which essentially are basically jerk baits. Now, we see this box right here says, boy howdy. But this is not a boy howdy, I'll tell you that right there. So what a boy howdy is basically, it's like a crazy shad, but it's a lot longer with the double prop, and we'll go over that here in just a second. But it's still in a box, so we'll just go ahead and, for the whatever sake that it's an original box, kind of ish. So now the red fin, let's talk about that for just a second. So I'm not sure exactly when this came out. I've heard that it came out sometime in the early mid-60s, but I've also heard that the possibility of the actual lure design itself could have been as early as 1950s, mid-1950s. But what I do know is that this lure was coming out as new bodies of water were starting to be flooded. So Sam Rayburn, for example, in Texas, this was a highly effective lure. When they flooded out that huge lake, they used this, and it was just a guaranteed fish catcher. So this lure has been around forever. It had a resurgence again sometime in the 80s, 70s, 80s, early 90s or whatever else, and still a very popular lure today. And what else is really cool about this lure is that it's the first minnow styled lure to incorporate the lip and the body in one piece. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about when I say that. So other lures, for example, would have like some kind of either metal or plastic that was like kind of put into it like this. This one is just all one piece, which really sets the red fin apart. Very, very cool lure. And then we've got here, this is probably one from, I don't know, sometime in the early 80s, I would guess, because you got that really nice bass pattern right here. But just a fun, historic, and highly effective lure from Cordell. All right, and the last lure that we're going to look at from Cordell here is the Crazy Shad. Now, if you haven't watched my last video, first, what are you doing? Okay, when this video is over, you need to get over there and watch that other video. But if you did, the Crazy Shad really mimics the injured minnow. So the last video I made was about the injured minnow, and it's a double prop style lure. So that was kind of Cordell's version, in my opinion, of the injured minnow. So you have that right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Crazy Shad and the red fin in some of these old school catalogs. We'll start here. We'll go back 40 some odd years to 1984, and we see the Crazy Shad right here. Really nice. Got a little list price there, $286 back 40 some odd years ago. So there's the Crazy Shad. But then let's go to 1995 and let's take a look at the redfin. And what's cool about this setup right here is you kind of get to see a couple different examples of a few things here. So right here we see an example of the redfin, and then right below it, hey, we just talked about the boy howdy compared to the crazy shad, and you can see what I was talking about. Basically it's a redfin styled lure with a double prop, and the crazy shad's a smaller kind of injured minnow style. But we see here with the redfin, see what I'm talking about, that it's a full body design with the lip on there. Let's go over here to the rogue, and if you look at the rogue, this is what I mean. You see how there's a plastic inlay inside the body right there? So that's what sets this lure apart. It's all molded into one piece, and that's what I meant by that earlier, in case I wasn't making any sense, because I usually don't make any sense. So that's, you know, the difference. You see most lures kind of have that kind of design right there where the lip is separate from the body, and this is a full body design right there. So a lot of really fun, cool examples from Cordell right here, and just a great look back at just some awesome old school lures. I just can't get over that. How awesome is that? All right, these last two lures I got here are really just kind of honorable mentions. I'm not going to go into detail about this. I just got this Rapala because I thought it looked good. And this is a good fishing lure that if I lose, it's not a big deal. $2. It's got a great design on it. Looks pretty cool. I don't really collect a lot of Rapala, only because I really focus my collection on American-made lures, because that's just how I roll, okay? That's just what I do. So, but nothing wrong with them. I think they're fantastic lures. In fact, a lot of the new lures that I buy are Rapala. I think they're great. This one dives down to 15 feet. It's a good trolling lure, so figured, hey, $2, pick that up. And this last one right here, I sure don't know a lot about the Shordoo, and that is the Mack's lure Shordoo. And so this lure is probably more prevalent up north. So if you live up north, you probably know a little bit more about this lure. So it's a Mack's lures. Here's an example of what this would look like new in package. And what I think is coolest about this lure is look at the logo, the little Scottish looking guy or whatever it is right there. Like, that's hilarious. Gotta love that. But you can see right here, I mean, you've got, it says it's great for steelhead, you know, they call it Lakers, pike, salmon, and trout. You know, on the back here too, it also says that it's, it's good for bass as well. Or I think it said that somewhere. Yep, salmon, bass, steelies. So really, and it's made in Washington there. So you know that this lure is specifically made for, fish up in the northern regions. And that kind of color gives it away too, that really shiny color that's going to attract those types of fish. But what I think is kind of neat about this lure is it kind of, to me, looks like a storm lure in those eyes. So I'm just saying, for $2, we're going to roll the dice. We're going to fish it. We're going to have fun with it and see if maybe we can't find a bass with this. You know, why not? Well, looks like it's about ready to start raining here in just a little bit, and my team's getting ready to start playing. So you know what that means. I think you do. So that's going to do it for this episode of Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. And if you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit. And then also check out the merch store. We got some new stuff, like hats like this, other styles, like what's listed up here somewhere. So, maybe a little something for everybody. So that's going to do it for this episode, folks. Until next time, we'll see you on the water. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.